sign.
We're recording now. You may go.
You told me we were ready.
This should stand.
So we left off with the inscrutable number 4 getting gently bumped by something large, something noisy, and from the general assumption of the crew, this would be considered the middle of the day. So, despite it being jet black dark outside, it would be considered the middle of the day. So there are spotlights on this one side of the ship, focusing into the darkness and stopping against this leathery, bluish gray body that, as the light runs across it, it is longer than the ship itself.
Okay. If I remember correctly, I believe, hold on. Sorry. I believe Maylene and I were below decks in our room, looking out the window. I'm going to tell Maylene, oh, no, that doesn't look like good news. I'm going to go check in with the captain, see if we need to do anything about this. And I'm going to run up to see if I can find Captain DeVere.
Don't leave me behind. I'm coming with you. And I'll dart behind him.
Where's Baron? Because he's hung out in the room too.
As they come running out of the room, I'm in the middle of like taking the wire out of the wall, like I was saying.
Of course.
And I see them running up the stairs. I felt the bump against the ship, and I am going to go on deck, but I'm staying as hidden as possible.
So you guys are going to find Captain DeVere, and he is currently leaning off the railing outside of the where
Bridge?
where the bridge of the ship would be. I was trying to think of the word. Where the bridge of the ship would be, leaned off looking at it. He looks excited. Like this is a kid on Christmas morning and there are presents everywhere. The crew, however, do not look as excited. They look tense. They are ready to attack or ready to be very still and hope it doesn't notice.
Ooh. Can I tell that from seeing everybody's body language? Or would I need to check?
I know there's a role for it.
I believe you're thinking of read.
Well, for the body language, yeah.
Is it read?
Yeah.
I should have had
it's
all
read.
Okay. So roll me read.
Okay, 1 second. Where'd that go? There it is. All right, so I have 1 die in read. Unfortunately, it's not gilded. You know what? Can I spend a drive to make that 2 dice?
You can.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to go ahead and spend a drive. Okay, let's see. And I'm trying to just get a high number on this, the high number on these dice, right?
Yes.
Okay, my high...
Probably a 4 and up.
Okay, great. My highest is a 4. I have one success.
Cool. So they do look tense. You do see the gunner is manned, but he is not firing. He is waiting for captain's orders.
Okay.
Or for
I
the
was
thing
gonna
to, or waiting for the thing to attack.
Okay. I was gonna, like, from the deck, I was gonna bellow up to the captain, like yell up to the captain. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna walk gently, you know, since everybody seems pretty tense. I'm gonna not walk gently, but I'm gonna make my way up to the bridge, and I'm going to ask Captain, something we got to deal with. I've got some explosives in my pack. if it comes to that.
He he kind of glances at you for a minute and he's excited and he looks back and he looks at you again as if he's realizing what you asked. And he inhales and you've talked to him. You've seen he's very loud and he's boisterous and I don't think we want to blow anything up this far out.
Okay. All right. I'll follow the captain's lead then. I'll follow their lead, and if they think the ship is in danger, I'll act. But actually, Emmeline, are you following me up to the bridge?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of turn back to you and say, listen, I don't know what's gonna happen over the next few minutes or so, but you may want to find some way to belay yourself up against a railing or something. I don't know.
It'd be a good idea to tuck near some stairs. Can't say I'm much good in a fight, but if it comes to that, we'll see what happens.
Well, I don't think any of us are gonna be much good in a fight against something that big.
Touche.
So I remember Colin was already on the deck.
Yep.
Uh,
He would have made his way up amongst the crew members, trying to peer over to see what might be actually in front of them out there.
it looks, from the stories, it looked like a whale.
Mm.
But given that the things you've noticed in the darkness and being manipulated and changed from living in the darkness, you're pretty sure it might have been a whale 1,000 years ago. But
Mm.
adaptation and magical forces, it's very likely it just resembles that.
Okay. I think he would take that moment to kind of close his eyes and try to feel like reaching out to see what more he can probably like sense of what's out there.
Do you want to roll sense?
Yeah, let's do that. Get some rolls here.
And see if you can feel something.
Success 6.
Awesome. It's odd to connect with the magics in the darkness because the stories over the last 1,000 years have told everyone to stay away from it, to stay in the light.
Mhm.
Nothing good is going to be found in the darkness. There is something calm about this creature,
Mhm.
even as it does nudge against the ship again. It's more like what is this? Is it a
Mhm.
toy?
Mm-hmm.
Is it another me?
Okay.
And there's this, it's very it's very muffled, like a screech into a pillow. But you get the sense uh that this thing is making a noise. It's calling out under the water.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
presently it kind of just seems like it's bumping against the boat to see what it will do in return.
Trying to feel this out.
Mm.
Okay. I think he'll open his eyes at that moment, and he'll look to the nearest crew member and be like, Is there a way we can get around this thing?
The crew member, he's white knuckled to his lantern, to his spotlight. He is stressed. And as much as the crew believes in the captain, there still may be that time. So he is stressed and he sucks in air through his teeth, and he's very, we're still moving. Just we're hoping it goes away, because this thing, as you're watching the spotlight go down, it loses the front of it in the darkness, and
Okay.
the other one towards the back, it's losing it. The ship is a glorified yacht. It's not that big.
Gotcha.
It's not like a cruise ship or a cargo ship. It's I'd say it's probably twice the size of your normal, like, billionaire yacht that the orcas are sinking. It's not meant to take on something this big. So they
Gotcha.
are really hoping it will just move on.
I try to seeing the stress in his face and everything. I'll try to Colin would try to reassure him, be like, "Easy, it's just confused right now. I'm gonna try to find the captain, and I'm gonna start heading towards uh, where he's at. Try to get to that next level."
So as you approach the stairs, you see Maylene and Emil there. And wherever Baron is hiding, he doesn't want to be found. But you do see them standing there, and you do also see the captain. He is still excited, because the likelihood of seeing something this large that does not immediately want to eat you is astronomical. So you see him, and he smiles, and he, like, gestures at you to shh, be quiet, because you do notice that everyone in the crew is quiet, as if the ship itself is holding its breath as it bumps. And then there's a moment where there's this huge swell of sound, and I think everybody should roll me a strike roll to hold
Strike.
on to something.
Okay.
Oh boy.
I've got 2 dice for that, and it is gilded, and I'm gonna spend a drive. And for nerve, I've got 3 dice altogether. Oh my
So
god!
I'm rolling with disadvantage unless I spend a drive here.
I tell you what, I'll spend a drive to help you.
All right. Will that just bring it back to a normal roll there?
So as this thing makes this large noise, I am going to use Saw This Coming.
Okay.
And it says 3 times per assignment, I may add 1+1 D to a circle member's roll without spending a drive. By saying how I prepared for this trash. I have been hiding this whole time, very close by Maylene and the soldier. But
Emil.
Yes, Emil.
Emil.
Thank you so much. My lord. I was like, I'm gonna say this name wrong, and I'm just not doing this moment in time.
Oh,
But
good.
also, I'd like to say, the second he started to show that he has a bunch of explosives, and I could see that from my little spot, I would have, like, made sure I was within grabbing distance of either Maylene or Colin. And now the second I hear this big noise, I am going to like pull Maylene back just in the terms of the doorway that I am in, so she can get a better hold on where she's at, because she just said she would have a negative if she didn't spin a drive. So now you will have an extra D6 for this roll without having to spin a drive. I'm going to also spin a drive and roll my 2D6. And that is how I am dealing with this moment.
Awesome.
So if
So I didn't have to.
you can, if you want to, it would turn it into a rolling as normal, I think.
I would also like to add I just got double sixes.
Yeah, I got double sixes too. Unfortunately,
I got
not
a
my gilded
5.
die, but there you go.
It's a
Very
4
nice.
for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody got at least a 4 or higher.
I got a 5.
Barely, but
Like
yes.
the second there was noise, Baron was like, "Nah, son," and just grab this girl and pull him back. And then I'd be like, and I'd look at her and be like, "We ain't doing this shit today. Hold."
As you grab the back of her coat, you'll hear a quick like gasp almost, and she'll jerk almost as though to bring an elbow back towards you, like right towards the nose, but stop when she realizes who's there.
I don't even think I'd flinch. I would just stare at her eye, like I would make eye contact and be like,
So you,
There's just
you
a mouth.
yes.
Go ahead.
You hear the swell, and Emil, you recognize this as, it feels to you more like that moment before a battle would start, before the fight would start. It's that anticipation that builds, but when in reality it is this whale-like creature pulling away from the ship, and the water is suctioning into a dip between the two objects. And as it slides back against the ship, everything rocks and slams. You've all managed to be secured and get secured and hold on, but you feel the ship tilt. And being as close to Captain DeVere as the lot of you are, all you hear is him hooping and hollering and yelling, and just yelling at this thing to bring it on. And the ship tips as it is being pushed away. And there is this moment where it has tilted so far, you all feel that you are holding on to keep from sliding.
Okay.
And you hear things and people sliding across the deck and screaming.
Ooh. Does anybody look like they're in danger of going overboard?
At the moment, no, because they did prepare and tie themselves in.
Okay, good.
Because
Glad to hear it.
the moment this thing appeared, they immediately went into what is going on.
Yeah.
Only because you're so close to Baron at the moment, like physically. Over the commotion, under his breath, you'd hear him mumbling. And if you were to like kind of pay attention to it even a little bit, he's singing to himself. Because whenever he gets scared and has to focus, he just sings to himself a little bit. And and it would be some nonsensical song for the moment, like something that doesn't make sense at all. Like I know there's not Disney in this world, but he'd be singing like "Be Prepared" to himself type of thing. like the look at this type of song from friggin' Nightmare Before Christmas. Some song that there's no reason to have in this moment. It would be under his breath, just
For whatever reason, he gives me a Katy Perry vibe. So
Right.
yeah, that or like on the outside, you'd want him to be like, yeah, man, 245s or 2 zigzags. This is baby. This is all you need. But that's not him singing. He's out there like Like when
No,
the
you
rain.
hear
Yeah.
you hear cherry lip gloss.
Yeah, some crazy, silly song that makes no sense for him to be singing, but it's like
Nice.
it's the only thing keeping him like focused on that instead of the craziness. And he's like, I just don't want to be here, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to be here. I have all the regrets.
Yeah.
But you in this moment of it's tilting as the ship seems to, well, it doesn't seem, it steadies back and levels. There is this massive splash of water because you hear the connection first, and then you feel the water spray on you.
Mm.
And you get the sense that whatever it was, it has dived. And the crew is still anxious. They're still holding on to see, is it coming back? What else is coming? Are we done for now? But Captain DeVere is excited that everyone has made it out, and you got to see a creature of the deep. And that is what he is focused on right now. Did you see it? It was a beauty. Man, I wish my ship was that big.
The creature was definitely excited to see us there, Captain.
I wonder how old it was.
That is
I kind
a
of
very good question.
no, go ahead.
No, that was a very good question, is all Colin said.
Oh, sure. No, I just realized that I haven't like taken a breath in the last 30 seconds as the ship was kind of rocking and swaying. I finally let out this big inhale, and geez, I don't know how many. I mean, how old could it possibly be? And really, what I'm wondering, Captain? Sure, you've encountered a lot of these things out in the water. I think there are more of these things between our destination and where we are now.
He gives you this it's really a look of thoughtfulness really quickly, and then he shakes his head. Nah, I've never seen one of those. Usually the things we run into actually want to sink us. And he's very excited. This man is looking for his death. And as he's excitedly like off into a tangent about other creatures they've run into that did actively sink the inscrutables 1 through 3, uh, the door to the bridge opens, and you've met him as the navigator, and he reaches out and he like very harshly pats the captain on his arm. Captain, we've lost navigation.
Oh,
And it is like all over again, the captain's eyes light up. Well, investigators, we're headed in the right direction.
with the
Oh,
device
goody.
down, that's a good sign.
Yes, that's an incredible sign. That means we're almost there.
If I recall, the vessel we're after claimed to have lost navigation as well.
Baron is just gonna say, "Man, how old it was? Old enough to fucking go to war or some shit." And I'm just gonna
Holy
turn around and
shit,
walk
where
away.
the hell did you come from? What the fuck? Where were you? I turn around, you're like hiding. I'm like, holy, you come out like,
I'm not even like I'm gonna look back and be like, I've been here, and I'm just gonna and I'm looking around and be like, and now we lost navigation. It's not a good thing. None of this is a good thing. That's not a good thing. I am hungry, and I'm just gonna go through my bag and look for something to eat.
As you walk away, Maylene will just say, "Thank you. If not for your quick reflexes, I'd be off the side of this ship."
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work, yo.
Indeed, it does. And with a shake of her head as she's coming out of that shocked fear, she'll turn to the rest of the group.
Well, if we're close, I think we should start preparing.
Indeed.
You know what? Actually, Baron, as you're walking away, I'm gonna pull that flask out again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna unscrew it, take a quick swig. Hey, Baron, and then I'm closing it up. I'm gonna toss it to you. Cheers. Thanks for what you did for Maylene back there.
I'll catch it and be like, ooh, yeah. Oh. Kind of go back to drinking. Needed.
Oh,
So
All right, Colin. I tell Colin too. I'm like, Colin, all right, yeah, you're right. We should probably get ourselves ready. I'm gonna keep those explosives handy. I think it might have been a mistake for me to run out of the room without them.
He just kind of gives that look like, what?
as you say that, Maylene will immediately just reach into her jacket and just check a pocket on the inside and make sure that the bag she put in there has not busted.
Oh, nice.
Maylene has secret Molotovs.
Oh,
So
Perfect.
that would be something I would have. But the captain, he smiles at those of you before you walk off, and he says, "Judging from what I know about the well, you've got about 30 minutes."
Oh, good.
Okay.
30 minutes to depart or 30 minutes till we get there?
30 minutes until we get there.
Okay.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna run down back to the room. I'm gonna make sure all of my gear is like all buckled into my pack. I'm gonna check. So let's see. My hand weapon is a blade. I have my explosives. I'm gonna actually put on my body armor as well.
Captain, do you happen to have any gas lanterns you'd be willing to depart with for us to use?
He looks around and he peeks into the bridge, and it's not a gas lantern. He does in fact hand you a flashlight. He says, "No, but
even
I've got a
better.
torch."
Yes,
He turns it on and shines it out first to make sure it still works, and then hands it to you.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. That will work much, much better. I know you keep referring to the site as a well. You have any means of descending us into it?
Well, and wells. I hear there's a door.
What kind of door? Is there?
The Devil's Well, from the rumors I've heard, it isn't so much a well. And this is the first time he's personally called it the Devil's Well.
Mhm.
It used to be a building.
Interesting. So there's some land foundation to step on.
I would think so. The problem we're going to have is getting through the wreckage, but there should be a building.
All right.
I
Thank you.
I don't think it would be like a building that we would see on land. It's one that would have to be built out in the ocean. So think like one of the oil rigs.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
okay. No, thank you, Captain. I'll let the others know. I'm going to try to regroup them.
But yeah, we should be there in about 30 minutes. But
Thank you.
you will, when you leave, you'll feel the ship slow.
Good to know.
Before he steps out the room, looking back over his shoulder, he goes, "If for any reason you see an orange tabby on board, don't let him off the ship." And I just keep going.
He kind of looks confused. I don't remember Jackie bringing a cat on board. We had a parrot once. I think it was a parrot. And as for Captain DeVere, he's off into a tangent about this animal. And all of the animals his son has brought on board.
Nice.
Captain DeVere strikes me as a parrot haver.
Yep.
Anyone who takes a look at Maylene as we're headed back to the quarters will just see a frantic searching of just looking through her mind in her eyes. There's not fear so much as just contemplating and calculating as she's trying to figure out what to do when we get there. And why we know it's about 30 minutes out when everyone else has lost navigation and disappeared.
And nobody asked the captain that.
All right. And Colin, you're sharing what you learned about the well with the rest
Yes,
of the group, right?
once I
Okay.
arrive into the room and Colin actually enters, he holds up the torch and is like, "A gift from the captain," and holds it back out to you.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to take it?
If you want to hold on to it, I can hold on to it. It's up to you.
No, I'll say
Yeah.
no. Listen, hold on to it. Just just be ready to shine that in front of me if I need it. I'll take the front and make sure that just stay close and keep that light on just in case.
Because it was a gift from one of the NPCs, I won't count it as part of your personal equipment.
Okay. So he starts to get into the explanation of what he was discussed with the captain. And in that moment, he's packing his bag and everything, getting everything on. He's like, "So we should be making some sort of land," which the captain's knowledge on this location is odd.
I'll,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I'll say it's quite odd that he would know roughly how long to get there when no one else has come back.
My worries is his works with other organizations. I'm still not fully trusting of what the captain knows and doesn't know.
Well, I mean, we're headed that way. One thing I do know, regardless of the captain, is that if we can find land, I'm going to feel a lot better about that. Being here on the ship after seeing that thing out there feels so great.
Speaking of, if we come across anything that is violent towards us, is everyone prepared to defend themselves? I would assume you are, sir. Pointing at you, Baron. Emil.
Yeah, I pat the it's it's like a pretty big military knife at my hip. And I'll say, well, I got this, and again, I've got a few tricks up my in my backpack too.
Just nods.
You guys hear the scrape of metal against metal
Oh,
while you're talking.
I'll
well,
look out the window. I'll kind of like run to the window and look out. Yeah, what do we see?
You see wreckage of what looks like other ships as far as the light is showing.
So I guess I say, huh. So I guess there is a trail of breadcrumbs for us to follow after all. I'll meet you all up top, and I'll start making my way up to the top, up to the main deck.
Baron, I'll look at you for that moment and go, do you think 1, 2, and 3 are out there of the previous ships?
I never did ask the captain how often they've sailed out here. I mean, I guess anything's possible out in the ocean. Who knows? Maybe wrecks get dragged here by something.
Man, it looked like all the fish out there. Red fish, blue fish, all the fish. And I'm just going to turn around and walk out the door.
Yeah.
I have my bag underneath my jacket that's on top of my hoodie, and it's all like very, very heavily pushed down. Like I've got it strapped down completely. If I want to get inside my bag, there is a side thing that I can get into with it, but it's zipped all the way up right here. Like it is very much, but I would look like I have like very much buttoned, like all my jackets are zipped up. I've got like the hood like tied down around me. Like I look like I'm like a kid that like the mother like did up to go play in the snow. Like the only thing is I can move my arms around. That's about it. But like I'm just like God damn it, man. And I just look very like this is not what I'm ready. I'm not ready for anything that I'm about to go see. It's on my face.
As you know what, I'm gonna say that as you kind of walk out the room too, I notice you're following, and I say, "Hey, Baron, hey, come here."
Word.
I say, "Hey, listen, you're probably the sneakiest out of all of us. We may need you to scout up ahead, but until that happens, you stay behind me. Don't take any chances. All right? I don't want you. I don't want any. I don't want. I don't want any one of us not making it back alive."
Yeah, me neither. There ain't no chance of me going up ahead of you neither. Don't worry about that. I'm right here. I'm your shadow. It's good. We good. If you need me to scout, I use my eyes. We're good. Don't worry.
I give you a little salute, and then I head back up. Yeah.
I say this all in jest, but like in the jest, like, and I try and seem like there's no. This is not me trying to act like big or anything. Like you fully are the leader here, sir. Like, I
mean, I'm about as much a leader as a wall can be a leader.
You know what? Walls stop bullets. We're good. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Fair.
As we heard the metal scrape against metal, Maylene is halfway into putting on a magician showman jacket that is just lined with pockets in the inside, and is one arm trying to reach into it as she goes to the window to look out. And then the panic sets in and she focuses, puts the jacket fully on, and starts getting items and gathering them up, putting them in there. And the last thing she does is grab that small bag that she put inside of her larger one, and she'll strap that near her belt, near her waistline, just to have it on hold.
While Colin's in the room there with you, still getting himself together, he'll look at Millie and be like, what accessories does she have?
So normally she would have dangling earrings, but they've been replaced with studs for movement around the ship while investigating. At this moment, she's got a necklace that stops just above her collarbone. It's got aquamarine just set into it, and the base is silver, and then there are marks on her wrist from where some tight bracelets have set, but currently they are bare.
Okay.
Other than that, just a couple of
Oh.
rings, and that's it.
And as he's situating his satchel nice and firm against him, he'll look at Maylene and call him and be like, "You have I see you wear bracelets, yes?
Typically, yes, but they're mostly for show.
Do you have them with you?"
Yes, indeed I do, and I'll reach into the big bag that the smaller one came out of, and produce just a small, simple silver bracelet, and another that is a tarnished gold.
He'll call and reach out and go, "May I?" And he'll take the silver one and kind of like walking and talking, gesturing as they're going. He's kind of like doing like just constantly turning it between his hands, just like rotating it while he. You can hear him muttering something, and basically what Colin's doing is preparing something for you. He's casting a ritual. I will take a bleed mark for this, and I will hand it back to you. And he looks at you and goes, "Wear this as a circle of protection for you."
Many thanks.
Just so you know, game mechanics wise, the circle of protection soaks one body mark for the person within.
Okay, good to know. GM, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance I would have recognized any of that mumbling based on past events?
Mm, I should really keep this open.
And Colin, while she's checking that, you would have, if you looked over at her, there was an analytic gaze watching everything you did in minute detail. Just almost like she was ready to pick it apart and try and recreate it herself.
Roll
Gotcha.
a focus roll.
All right. Let's use that die. We'll use a different one. That's a 2.
Nope. You do not recognize it in the way that it is strung together.
There is, as you hand it to her and explain to keep it on her, there's a bewilderment of just not fully grasping what she has just seen, but definitely you've caught her interest. And she'll slide that onto her wrist and hold it tight.
Before the others get back to us, and before we get up any stairs, or like while we're still kind of in this corridor going to the top side alone, Emil, after we had that, I think there'd be like a moment pause, but then Baron would kind of like, "Hey though," and like try and get your attention, and then be like, and like in a very like real manner, which is very unoften for him. He would gesture to his bag and be like, "I mean, if I'm gonna scout, and I'm gonna be like, if something happens, could you just there's a wooden box in my bag. Will you just make sure to get it back to that old lady so she can give it to somebody from me?"
That brings up like a lot of memories from when my other company was lost. So you see me kind of like visibly pause for a minute, like soaking in what you say, and then I just say, "Yeah, I'll make sure that happens."
All right, then. I mean, yeah, just let me know if I gotta go out front, and then I'll get like real quiet and just become your shadow again.
I would assume we've all reconnected at this point.
Yes. As you're all reconnecting and regathering on the deck, you can see now the wreckage pieces more clearly. That this is multiple ships. There could be 50, there could be 100 ships. You don't know how many are underneath, how many have sank on top of each other. And the inscrutable is sliding as gently as it can through these ships. Yes, there is the scrape and there is the odd tug as it kind of wedges too close to something that does slow it down and pull it.
How are the crew looking at this point too? Are they still like that same kind of anxiety, or is it a little more business as usual?
They do still look tense, but you do notice some of them now, they have these extended poles that they are pushing against the wreckage.
Kind of
In
get
an
things out of the way.
effort to make sure there are multiple of them. It's taking 3 and 4 of them to press against this in an effort to keep from pushing the ship too far to one side.
Okay.
Oh, to stay the course because we don't have navigation. Ooh, yikes. Okay. Any of them look like they need a hand. I'll lend them a hand.
Okay. There is a group near the front. They're not timing their push correctly.
Ooh, all right. Can I go over there and kind of do the, like the stroke, the boat leader kind of thing?
This might be a sway roll.
Okay. Let's see. I already used a drive for cunning, so I'm going to save the other one. So this is just going to be a straight up roll. I have 1 die, not gilded. Ooh, I got a 3. Not great.
How are you trying? You're trying to get them on a beat.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, all right, just 1, 2, 3, and
I'm listening to him, and I listen to all of this, and I watch them do this whole thing. And Baron's gonna be like, "Man, y'all got no rhythm at all. Is no, and I'm gonna try and help as well, if that's okay."
awesome. So I get another die, or are
Yes.
you rolling for this one?
To help,
Baron?
you would be Baron burning a drive to give Emil an extra dice.
So,
Unless you have something for that.
well, so what I was gonna say is, theoretically, because of tricks of the trade, I could lower. I can spend a nerve to lower the difficulty of the roll of a sway or a hide.
Oh.
That's useful.
And
Yeah.
so you learn how to navigate tricky or dangerous situations. You keep yourself out of harm's way. On a hide or a sway roll, you may spend 1 nerve to lower the stakes of the roll. It says before, so.
Oh, and I think that's just for you, right?
And I guess that's just for me after reading it. But that's fine. I'd give him one of my drive for him to roll.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Here we go. 1 more die. Oh. It's a 5.
That's better. That's a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, much better.
Great.
You really only needed a 4.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Fantastic. Great.
So
I wasn't sure if that was going to be success at cost or what.
Yeah, you see them and it takes them a minute. They're still they're not sure about this area because they've never been to the Devil's Well. And they have never had to navigate this much wreckage in one place. And so they slowly seem to fall into this rhythm to where they are also repeating with you in the rhythm. And the shuddering of the boat getting caught on things seems to lessen. But as you get closer, you do notice that the spotlights on the front of the ship are focused ahead. They're not looking out like they were when you were in open sea.
Like, oh,
Just kind of keeping an eye out on whatever might be in front of us, like whatever wreckage and stuff we are gonna have to plow through.
as they fall into the right rhythm, I feel like I would slap one of them on the back just like lightly and be like, "Great, good job, yeah, man." As I turn around, and be like, "Dang, Brexton people, yo," and just walk away.
uh you kind of hear this sailor. He's cussing, but he's got a job to do. You start to hear ahead. You hear a it's not necessarily like a beacon sound, but it's a beep. Because a light, like a spotlight for a lighthouse, would be useless in the darkness for the most part. But you hear a beeping, and as the ship gets closer to it, it gets louder. And this is the signal to signal when someone is nearing the well and how far you are from it. And the crew itself is still trying to keep the wreckage away, but they kind of relax. And it takes them a few minutes to get the ship docked to the side of the well. But when I described an oil rig, I forgot that they are built up. This is built down.
Oh.
So it's descending into the waters.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It has a top level that has buildings that look like they are old and rusted, and ships have run into this thing, and you do see what looks like cloth, sort of. Cloth is the best way I can describe it, but it is draped over part of one of these buildings that has a little we would call it a door light, like your front porch light. And there are these lights beside all of the doors. And you see this, and it is blowing in the wind. And as the light hits it, it kind of shimmers. And you assume that this is the sail off of the airship.
But we don't see like anything that might look like the rest of it,
No.
even among the wreckage. Okay.
It may have sank.
Yeah.
How far?
I think Colin would try to request from the crew to shine some more light in that direction to see if they can step onto something or cross over onto something at the very least.
As they get docked and they put out their gangplank to walk across, there is this gap. They've got as close as they can physically get their ship. The walkways are made of metal. They're the metal grating, and the lights that they're shining across show other wreckages, and these ships range from this era's ships to there's a piece of a wooden ship. Like there is the mast and a sail of a proper wooden ship. And it doesn't make sense for something that old to have survived not only the darkness, but the water.
Hmm. No, like it should have gotten waterlogged and sunk quite some time ago, right?
That's what it feels like, is it should have sank.
Yeah.
As the gangplank is being taken out, I'm gonna make sure that the crew don't, I want to again make sure that I'm at the head of the line, and that the crew only go down there if it is absolutely necessary. I'm also going to tell them to, make sure that at least one of those lights is following us at all times. I want to be able to see where we're going.
Does any of the older crew have like specs or glasses?
A few of them do.
Colin and Colin's just gonna walk up to one and go, "Can I borrow these? Thank you," and just take them off his face.
And he kind of,
Oh,
You'll be
no.
right.
you see him reach, and then he immediately touches the person next to him. This man is effectively blind now.
Lovely.
I'll bring these back, I promise, and I'll put them like just in my pocket.
How far down is it?
How far down is it?
Yeah, like from where we're at, like we're on the deck. Is it?
I would say it's the main, or the what would be the top level of this facility is about 20 feet down.
Okay. And there's something that like the gangplank reaches to it.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I'm going to start heading down again. I'm kind of gonna look in front of you, and I'm going to say, "All right, everybody, get behind me. You don't go ahead if unless you need to."
I'll line up behind you.
Take the rear of this. Might be good if we need to run.
Yeah, and I'll start walking my way down.
The height of the ship compared down, it's not going to be an easy walk down. It's not really built for ships this tall.
Okay.
And well, it was built more for where if you were in a ship this tall, your entry point would be further down.
Hmm.
And when you get onto the metal grating, you vaguely hear something that sounds like tick 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 tick, scurrying away. But you see a sign that on one of the buildings, and it is a sigil that you would recognize due to the interactions with other organizations, as this is the eons symbol.
Hmm.
And it even says eons, EONS, on it.
Okay.
It's like painted or like carved onto or etched onto part of the structure.
Think like a sticker stamp,
Oh, okay. Huh.
like would be on the side of a vehicle.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Does it look old or does it look pretty recently? Like, does it match sort of the age of the platform?
Yeah, it looks like it's been there since the structure itself was built.
Huh. Colin, what do you make of this? And also, actually, I'm gonna say you got that torch on you.
Yeah, he'll pull it out and turn it on as he kind of takes his other hand and touches the wall, kind of feeling it, trying to get a sense of the history and age of this place.
I think Maylene is currently looking around for any other identifying symbols aside from the one from Eons, as we just examine it all.
If a research facility was here, I think there'd be more of these people out here trying to recover the work. No?
Depends if they think the cost is worth it. With as many ships as we see just on our way to here, how much more would it have cost them to fully recover this?
Or maybe they recovered what they needed already.
Also a possibility.
And you know what, Colin? If you're done inspecting that that symbol, I'm gonna tap you on the shoulder, and I'm just gonna tap my ear like, "Hey, I heard something," and then point over there. You shine your light on, and I'm gonna
Yeah, I'll
ask Colin to
shine
shine
a
that
light
light
to
to
it.
where where that scuttling was, or that skittering rather.
When you shine the light over there, it for a moment looks like a pile of rocks. Just pretty white sandstone rocks. And when the light sweeps across it, the pile starts to shiver.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
as it shivers and rocks tumble off of it, you see little legs pop out as little pinchers come up. And yes, I am talking about the crabs from Pirates.
Hey,
And these crabs, at first, they come towards the light. Like, these are not the lightless creatures. They're not harmed by it. It more or less just woke them up.
Okay.
And for a moment, it's almost as if you hear the waves speaking. And the crabs are leaving. And the sound leaves with them. And it takes a moment for you to realize the crabs themselves were speaking. And it's the daughter, the daughter, the daughter, the daughter. Protect. And it's this cacophony of voices on top of each other. As they are rushing away.
I turn to all of you and I kind of give you a look like, you know what that means?
Apparently, I speak.
I've never
crustacean.
seen animals speak before. That's new.
nor have I.
You have a cat
Something
that
here has
just
changed the
magically appears.
wildlife around there. Huh?
I said, you have a cat that randomly appears.
Great, great.
Just looks at Niklaus. You should have stayed on the ship.
Great. All I'm saying is, I just wanted to make sure I didn't just randomly learn crustacean right then and there. But
Yeah, I was
There's still the
wondering if it
possibility
was
we all
just
did.
me.
if one of them things come anywhere near me, I'm kicking it.
So Colin's gonna get down on one knee and open up his bag to try to see if Niklaus will jump in. It's like, come on.
He is sitting at the end of the gangplank. And he doesn't seem to be interested in coming any closer.
If something eats you, I'm not gonna feel bad. He gets back up.
That's valid.
Rude but valid.
All right.
Look,
If
he's just here for the wet food.
If we've investigated like that Eon's mark, if it looks like it's part of this place, and this place may have once been an Eon's facility, I'm gonna head over to the sale and take a look at it, just like inspect it.
The cell itself looks brand new. Like there's no damage on it. And it
Like
does.
no tear marks or anything.
There's no tear marks. There's no
Huh.
dirt. There's no explosion marks. There's no water hasn't touched it.
Hmm.
And in the grand scheme of looking at this building looks hundreds of years old. There's a very old wooden ship. There's metal ships. Everything is from a different time, it looks like.
Magnus has done some strange things here.
There's no like blood or anything on the sails either. Like
No.
nothing. Okay, all right.
It looks like somebody just took it off the creator and tossed it on this building.
While he's looking at all that,
Mhm.
you were talking about this. It's like a doorway, right?
Mhm.
2 questions: what kind of latch opens the door? And then 2, is it just like a metal wet door, or does it
Yeah.
have heat to it?
It is a metal wet door, and it has one of those. At this point in its rusting, it would either take 2 of you, or it would take all of your weight to open it.
I'm not trying to open it. I just want but it's like a push latch.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'll stand by and see if you need any help.
Absolutely not trying to open it myself. I just wanted to know what type of door it was. Like, just trying to know more about it and make sure that there's nothing extra weird about the door. That being said, if it does
Extra weird about this particular door. This particular door, no. It is plain, but there are other buildings.
It doesn't look like it's open. It's been opened in the recent at all. Okay. Yeah, I'd look around and then I just kind of look, and if I can see other buildings, like you said. Is there anything that looks newer than anything, or something that's been like disturbed recently? Like anything that looks like there might that might be where a survivor of the wreck might have gone.
The roll a what is it called?
No, I'm just playing.
A survey roll. Look.
All right.
We can all go home now.
Shit! Don't tell me twice. All right. That was a 4.
A 4. You do see a door in your glance out, and the only reason you really notice it is because it has one of those red placards on it that says personnel only. And underneath it on the door, because you've heard Jackson call it this, and you may have heard Captain DeVere call it the Devil's Well on this door. But you also notice that this is where all of the crabs went. And there is layers of crabs just in their little rock forms between you guys and this door.
I mean, something's going on over there. Apparently, the party. But also, that looks. I'd point out the personnel thing and say something mildly clever about it. To me,
Colin will kind of like take notice and like lean over to see where you're at and what you're looking at. And just kind of go, what's that?
Maylene, who's been heavily inspecting the sail at this point, will turn to exactly where you're looking and just squint her eyes a bit, take a look at the mass of crabs between us and that. Wonder how they react to sound. If we need to get through there.
Kind of doing like a sweeping motion with its torch to like look around. Is there any kind of like broken parts of this facility, like piping or anything like that I might be able to pry off?
Some of the rails do look like they've weathered a few too many crashes. And there's you do notice what looks like it should have been a emergency fire hose box. The hose itself is missing.
Okay.
But there are railings that have been broken and rusted down, so they're kind of hanging. Pipes, particularly, no. You could break one of the railings if you want, or you could inspect the firebox.
I think his first instinct would be to try to pry one of those railings off. So, Byron, he'd actually like kind of give you the torch real quick. Hold this, please. And then you just had to see him grab onto the railing and try to like rip it off.
Maylene, as she sees you do that, will pull out a handkerchief and be like, "Before you do, don't want any cuts on those hands, and one to wrap each of your hands in before you grab the rusted rail."
Oh, thank you.
Don't think we have a tetanus shot yet, so.
And that's how he dies. No.
Joke's on you. The handkerchiefs are snakes.
Do you need me to roll anything to try to pry this off, or to break this?
Let's call it a control. Well, strike will work.
Strike or control?
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm gonna go with strike because I have 2d6 for that one. Woohoo! Critical success. That is a first for me. Ooh.
So you grab this thing and you are prepared to just wiggle it. But as you push against it, it creaks all the way into the bend and snaps off.
Ah, lovely. And then he kind of turns back to you, Byron, like asking for the light.
Yeah.
He's just taking. So he'll sweep it in front of where the crabs are, and then kind of just like start banging right by them to like just see if they can move.
You see the crabs closest kind of, they use their legs to shove themselves back into the horde. Away from it. They're really just trying to block the doorway.
He's gonna keep trying to approach it. As long as they keep trying to move, he's gonna keep trying to do that towards them. See if he can make some space or leeway.
As you're banging on the graded walkway, you hear it echo in what is essentially the silence, other than the waves crashing against the wreckage. And these little crabs are moving. And they're parting for the railing, the pipe itself.
Mhm.
And as soon as they have the opportunity to close back in, they do.
Oh, behind me?
Yes.
Okay.
I do want you to make a move roll for me.
Okay. That's a 2.
Oh.
Ouch.
As all of you see him clearing his path through, and then you see them immediately close in behind him. Essentially, the crabs were docile until you got close enough to the Devil's Well door. And now they're not. They
Mm.
I need for Colin to mark a body as
Okay.
7 of these crabs start pinching the back of his legs.
Ooh. When I see that, I'm going to kind of run in and I'm just going to start kicking crabs out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm kicking crabs.
Hey, Colin's kind of jumping and then kicking and swiping with the pipe.
Yeah, with the
Oh, the
pipe.
railing, excuse me.
Maylene will, seeing you run in, just say, "Cover your eyes," and grab a pouch out of her jacket and try and throw it towards Colin. It's flash powder to try and just brighten the area, see if they'll scatter at the noise of it popping or the bright light.
Okay.
Let's roll a control to see if you get it.
I will use a drive to make this 2 dice instead of 1.
After she rolls, I have something I want to do.
That's a 4 and a 5.
So when this little flash powder bomb hits, it makes this. I assume it makes like the pop sound, like the little pop snap things.
Just on a slightly larger scale.
Okay. Uh, so like it makes this cracking noise that you would probably uh put it on the same level as a whip snapping at the end. It sounds like a gunshot going off in this practically emptiness. And you watch as many of them push back. And you hear the bloop, bloop, bloop of some of them falling off the edge of the railing into the water. I wouldn't worry about them. They'll be back. But you have this opening to get to the door.
So I was going to say, during all of the commotion, Baron would take a straight sprint to see if he could get to the door and actually open it. Because if we're going to have to go through the door, that means we have to know that it's unlocked. And while they are sitting here dealing with crabs and helping Colin, I would make sure that the door could be opened before we run in a certain direction.
So when you get to this door, it's got one of those yep. It's got one of those twisty doors. I should have looked up what this was called.
The wheels.
Oh, bulkhead.
But you would have to turn it, and it takes a moment for it to pop loose. No one has been to this building in decades, from the looks of the rust and the way everything is stuck into place. But you do get it to start spinning. And when you get it open, there is a staircase down. The inside of the building still looks relatively old, but it doesn't look as battered and weather worn as the outside. It looks like the stairs may be safe.
Yeah, the second the door opens, I would yell back to everybody, "Hey!" and just kind of like gesture.
I'll walk in there.
Maylene will not waste a moment and just sprint.
Yep. Just kind of
Yeah.
backing up into it, still swiping at these things.
I would help anybody who's coming towards the door and kind of like knock crabs away with my feet or whatever. And the second the torch and they all got through and there was light in there, I would slam the door closed. We're gonna have to worry about that when we come back out now, right?
One thing at a time. And I'm just kind of like looking at my ankles.
I'll say we'll cross that bridge when we get there. See what we can find down here first.
And at least we know they don't react well to loud noises.
I'm gonna say, you got any more of those flashy things?
Assuming they didn't break, I prepared some last night while we
All
were.
right, we may want to save one of those at least for our way back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
You guys are at the top of the stairs to the Devil's Well. You were sent here to find out why the wreckage is happening.
How do the stairs look? Do they look stable? Are they rusted in places? Like anything I should worry about?
There is minor rust. Possibly just from not being maintained for however long. But like I said, it does not look as weather worn as the outside.
I'll start walking down, Colin. Since you've got the torch, I'll give you a gesture to follow me and keep that thing lit.
Yeah, I'll keep it pointed, holding it up and pointed down the steps.
Downward. All right.
So you go down 2 flights of stairs, and it levels out into what looks like it would have been a large laboratory space. Where multiple scientists would have worked together. There are walls sectioning off rooms that are just the thick fogged glass.
Mm-hmm.
There are tables they would have held beakers if the beakers hadn't broken.
Okay.
You do notice along the walls, and it's lit down here. There is light down here.
Oh,
the building has, right? It's wild. It's like an emergency lighting though. It's around the floors and the hallways and around the door frames. And you
it's like
notice
harsh light and like not strategically placed necessarily, or not to light everything up.
No, it's meant for if the power went out in the structure, this would kick on and everyone could still find their ways out to the exits. But from the looks of what it took to get here, how long has the backup generator been running? And in this dim light, you notice this soft, well, It's a glittering of orange across the walls.
Interesting.
And
I'll kind of walk up to that.
if you were to shine your flashlight against it, it looks like a mold or a fungus growing across the wall.
So he kind of, oddly enough, he leans forward and kind of gives it a sniff.
It smells musty. It smells musty sweet. Think like a molding orange.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Is there so there are tables and stuff, right? Are there any other articles besides, broken lab equipment to kind of give the place a once over?
As you're looking around, you do find skeletons leaned against the wall.
Ooh, okay.
And go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, do they look like they're wearing any scraps of clothing, or any kind of markings?
A few of them do have like pieces of clothing. One of them does have a lab jacket. But they're all bone.
Mm-hmm.
There's no flesh. There's no muscle. There's no signs of decay. Other than the clothes being old and wearing on their own time.
Yeah.
Kind of leaning away from the mold. Going citrusy almost. What do you have over there? Just
Looks
shining
like
light.
they're. I say, looks like we've got some maybe some of the folks that used to call this place home. How many skeletons are there?
You see 3 of them.
3 of them? Okay.
You say that. Maylene will approach and just try to examine, see if she can determine how old they are, but any signs of detail that she can get off of them.
Let's call that a focus. Yeah, a focus roll.
All right.
Which body are you looking at specifically, though?
I think I'll look at the one with the lab coat, or
Okay.
what's left of a lab coat.
While they're all doing this, I'm just staying alert.
That is a 6.
Oh, hey.
There you go.
As you're inspecting this this scientist, you find in her pocket a key card. And it has a picture of this. She looks very stern, like if she were to smile, her face would break. Very sharp edges, she looks unhappy to be having to take this picture. Her hair's pulled back into a tight bun. This is, and it has her name on it. It is Amelia Kowalska. Kowalska. Kowalska.
All right.
DM, these skeletal figures, how are they positioned on each other? Or are they just near each other? Or is anyone one particular shielding the other? Like,
The doctor, the way her bodies have fallen, she looks like she's laying against the wall with one arm stretched out. Her key card has Chief Scientist on it.
Okay.
Does it have like the Eons logo on it?
Yes.
I'll hold it up and just show to the group.
What'd you find there?
This was Amelia Kowalska, a chief scientist here by the looks of it. And this is her key card.
Do the other skeletons have key cards as well?
Literally about to ask the same thing.
They do. And they have different floors marked on them. One of them says for level 4, and one says for level 2. Baron, can you make me a... Where was it? I want you to make me a survey roll, please.
Sure. Five.
Cool. So you notice as you're keeping this eye out and you were watching them look at these bodies, you notice, and it's very unnatural. The orange fungus that is on these bodies is moving towards anyone who touches the bodies.
I'm not quiet about that in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Like, the second fungus moves, you all know too.
He just kind of, Colin just shines the light to see.
Maylene will immediately jerk away, keycard still in hand.
It sparkles in the light, but it stops progressing towards where it seemed to have sensed someone touching nearby.
Heavily under my breath, all you hear me say is, "It's a vampire."
I don't think so, but good guess.
So we've all like kind of backed away from where these things are, right? Do we see any other like doorways, any other openings that we can, or does the stairway continue downward?
There are other doorways. This particular stairway ends here.
Okay.
There is a doorway at the end that has an arrow that points down, and it lists floors 2 through 5.
Well, I have an idea. It's going to be a lot of floors, a lot of levels. There were other cards there on those other bodies, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, level 4 card and a level 2 card.
Now we could investigate all these levels together, or we can try to speed this investigation up, and each one of us take a card and check out an area, meet back here.
I'm gonna say I don't know if we should be too worried about speeding things up. I think I'd rather we all got out of here with our hides intact.
Yes, fungus just moved.
Yeah, you'll see Colin had taken one of the bands that you gave him off his hand, and he's starting to wrap the tip of the railing with it. And he takes off the other one he's doing. Then he goes, "Oh no, that are all good points, but I feel like if we're dealing with one thing in one area, we might miss something somewhere else." Now, looking at it, does anyone have a light?
Well, there's a little light here, right? Oh, you mean, you want to light it up like a torch?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got my personal basics. I mean, is there like, can I have a small lighter in there?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'll actually I'll pop the bottom of the lighter to open up the fuel little
Mm-hmm.
fuel chamber. I'll douse a little bit of that with the of your makeshift torch with that fuel, and then I'll light it up.
All right. Wonderful. And then he kind of like keeps it close towards the fungus while he tries to grab the other key cards.
Does the
So,
fungus
Ooh,
reaction
yeah.
fire? I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say yes.
Does
Simply
Okay.
because it is a fungus.
it fizzle or does it die, like go
It
away?
recedes.
Okay. Stands back up, holding the other key cards, pulling them out.
So that one's for level 2, that one's for level 4, correct?
I'll take the level 2 one.
I'll hold on to the chief scientist one. This might get us into 3 and 5 if we're not able to get in otherwise.
And Colin, you're
He'll
gonna hold on to
hand,
level 4,
yeah.
or do you want
He'll
me to hold
hand you
on
the
to it?
toy. He'll hand you the torch,
Okay. All right. Fantastic. I'll take it. I'll take it.
and you'll see him
Uh,
turn back around and reach forward, picking up the flashlight itself, the actual torch off the floor, and go ahead and reach on one of the skeletons and just crack a rib off. And then you'll put it in his bag.
Collecting souvenirs?
Ingredients. All right. So, where would we like to go first?
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think about that for a second, then I'm like, I'll ask you later when we get out of this situation. I point out that level 2 door. I say, I imagine that thing goes down.
Ah. Well, no way to find out but to go through.
Right.
I'll hold up the key card. All right.
So as you guys are walking towards down this hallway, you notice there is a shut door to one of these sectioned off rooms, and it does have Dr. Kowalska's name on it.
Oh, you want to check that out first?
Indeed. And I'll take the key card in my hand and just try to see if there's a place to use it on the door or if it just seems like it opens normally.
There is it's a little pad, and you wouldn't swipe the card, you would just put it near it.
Do that and see if it reacts.
You hear the little pad makes a little beeping noise as you hear it sounds like a heavy lock pull out of place into the door. And you can now push this door open.
All right, I will do so carefully.
Go make sure there's no orange fungus.
Right where I'm putting my hand, just right in the fungus.
And I'll follow pretty close by too. Like if anybody's moving into a new place, I'll always make sure I'm nearby, if not up front.
We're there going into this room. There's another doorway that leads to floor 2, or is this like a down the stairwell type of thing?
No, there is another doorway. This is before they get to the stairwell.
While they're looking in that, I think if there's another doorway or down the stairs or whatever, I would like to like go walk up, peer down it, just kind of investigate back and forth, but make sure that I kind of keep them in eye shot. But I'm not bringing a light or anything with me that you can see.
From the stairwell looking down, it does have this strip of light along the edge of the wall that lights up enough to not miss your step, to see where you're going down or up. You could probably find somewhere in the building that would turn the main power back on if you wanted to spend the time doing it. But you all probably don't plan to stay here long enough for it to matter.
No.
You know,
I was thinking about making this my vacation home, actually.
Oh yeah, you got guard crabs, you got wild
it.
fungus.
Good
And
little
most
alarms.
importantly, squatters' rights.
Yeah.
There you go.
Peering down the stairwell and everything else, like, other than this orange fungus, does it look like there's anything else around here? With like with the idea that like this is what I do. I live in dark alleys. I move around all this stuff. Like, this is my norm. I'm looking for anything that would say, hey, this door has been opened. This door is like ajar. There's like something that would tell me that like, hey, there's been something that's moved through here lately. Any of those type of things. You know what I mean?
Lately, there's nothing have been through here. What you do see every now and then is it looks like someone has dropped a file and there's papers dropped on the floor of experiments, of science projects, of funding, there's a newspaper that is dated 906, and this is 916 is the current year you're in. So you do kind of have a year of when maybe the last person was here.
Okay, but nothing that would alarm me currently. So I'll just kind of stay near this doorway, but also kind of like looking back on them and just kind of like keep the orbit that I've been doing this whole time with everything.
In that moment you turn around to look where we're at, Colin's just right behind you with the flashlight up, so that light. It's just like, what are you doing?
Making sure that there's nothing else around here.
Just kind of goes forward. Anything good?
Looks like some papers and some shit from like 10 years ago. And I like push one of them into his face to give the without me having to say like back up, but give the like
it just takes it interesting.
No more ingredients though.
There's always more ingredients. That's like without even picking his head up from the paper.
Under like loud enough, but under the breath. That's terrifying, yo.
Oh.
You do notice that on the paper it does say the Pandoran Times, and the headline is talking about the newest CEO of the railroad company. I saw that face.
I'm not doing this.
This you know that this was a big deal because this is the youngest CEO to take place presently of anything in New Brexon. And But that's really the only point of time you have reference for this building. You guys have entered into Dr. Kowalska's office.
Nope. What's the name? Just
No,
tell me the dumb name. Just tell me the dumb name. Go ahead.
You know, you don't know. The paper says the name is Azure Steel.
Word. Okay, go ahead. Baron kills himself. No, just playing. Go ahead.
Baron yeets
See,
him back.
more ingredients.
He yeets himself into the orange fungus for you to find out what it
God.
does.
God.
Gotcha.
Uh,
But you're in Dr. Kowalska's office.
You're welcome.
In here, she has notes on her desk, and it's very organized. There is a 3-inch binder on her desk, and there is files, and everything is organized. And this room, despite everything else looking like it was destroyed, this room looks like somehow it has maintained the time.
Oh, start poking
That
around,
is-
seeing if there's anything interesting.
state of this room is deeply unsettling.
Yeah, there maybe we'll find some answers. We poke around, explain whatever that stuff out there is, at least.
Here's hoping. And I'll start with a 3-inch binder and just start flipping through notes or anything that I can get my hands on.
The spine of the binder says the reliquary. I feel like I said that word wrong, but you all understand that I said
No,
the...
you got it. Yeah,
Okay.
reliquary. That's what. Yeah. Would I know that like a reliquary is generally someplace like in terms of in terms of churches, it's where like the remains of a saint or whatever holy antiquity or relic they have is placed, right?
Yes.
Would I know that?
I believe with your character's history, you would know that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, because that was one of the
Yes.
that was one of the Templar. Actually, Maylene, do you share that detail about it being the reliquary or being about something being called that?
I don't think I say it out loud. I think she just reads it and then looks to open it and start flipping through.
The notes that you catch flipping through in this binder are very cold and detached, and they describe to you as if someone tried to make a science documentary of experimenting on a child. It depicts the ages of this child, and you see the picture of this little girl, and there are notes of each experiment, of how long it lasted, of what was done, of the effects afterwards.
Tears welling in her eyes, and a bit choked, Maylene will turn and say, "There's a chance that this describes the daughter the crabs were talking about. This is horrific and inhumane, to say the least. If you would like, you can read it, but be warned, you might want to steel your mind." And I'll explain it out.
Mhm. I'm gonna like wave a hand like no, I don't want to read that, but I am gonna ask so this daughter, that those crabs are talking about might not necessarily be a good thing. But then again, I mean, what you're saying is reliable from in there. It might be somebody that needs some help.
My saying this is entirely based on the cold, detached nature of it. Clinical, with no emotion attached, to
Is the
experimentations on a young girl.
are any of the papers in that file like signed?
Would any of them have been signed, GM?
They are signed by the doctor herself.
Doctor, oof.
In whatever search Emil is doing, there is a journal and multiple recorded cassette tapes.
Is there anything that resembles something that I can play those tapes on, like a cassette player
On the desk,
at
yes.
all? There is. Does it look like? I mean, if things are pretty preserved, does it look like it would work?
It may work.
All right. I mean, I'm gonna give it a try. I'll kind of look to the cassettes and see if any of them are labeled. And if there's a label that catches my eye, maybe with a date or with a name or like the word subject on it, I'll pop it into the cassette player and see if it plays.
So when you play it, and you guys hear this out in the hallway as well, it's early spring in the year 898. The subject, known as the reliquary, has escaped containment once again. She made it from the 7th floor to the 3rd floor. And this woman sounds very irritated. So now you know that there are not just 5 floors, but 7 floors to this well.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You said the reliquary escaped from the 7th floor to the 3rd floor?
Yes.
Or yeah.
Injuries and casualties are astronomically high for the day's events. We'll need to speak with the board about getting more funding. And she goes on to discuss about how they finally subdued the reliquary. And now you're given the idea that the reliquary is not a holy place, but it is a child.
Ooh. What kind of notes are there about how the reliquary was subdued?
The notes talk about how electric shocks didn't slow her down. And it took a combination of a nerve gas and trapping her in a floor.
May Amelia's soul never find rest. And may we not have to...
I apologize. Go ahead.
You're good. May we not have to deal directly with the reliquary.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of any of that at all. We still got to find out what happened to that damn airship. Is there anything else of note in this in the lab or in this office?
In the office, there is a kind of like an architectural model where they would draw out the floor plan
Mm-hmm.
in looking at the building from the side. So
Oh,
you
like a
would
little
see
cutaway model?
you would see the top floor, and then you would see the different levels, and it would have what the levels are named.
Okay. I'll take a look at that, but I'll also I'll grab those cassettes in that journal. I'll put them in my my pack.
Um, it's it doesn't tell you like specifics of each floor, but it does tell you, it gives you an idea of what's on the floors. Like there's science and research, there's experiments, there's uh, weaponry. Then it gets down to, and there's marked at each floor where there's a locking bulkhead that would shut down the floor. This floor and the one below it do not have locking bulkheads. So floor 3 was you get from this image that floor 3 was their last ditch to contain the reliquary.
Mm.
But looking at it, you also see that the floor between floor 2 and floor 3 is a lot thicker.
Okay. Bigger space. Okay. I'll try to remember as much of that as I can, then I'll turn to everybody and I'll say,
It's in a picture
so
frame.
Oh, it
So
is. Okay,
it's
all
like
right, so I can grab it.
an architect drawing of the side of the building.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
It's in a
Okay.
picture
Okay.
frame.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Okay. In that case, I'm gonna try to pull it out of the frame and like fold it up and take it with us.
So this will help you in finding the source of the problem and avoiding floors that you don't really need to spend time on.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see.
I would assume at this point, either myself or Baron, you might be with me. I'm not sure. So would have walked into the office to meet back up with you guys. Still reading the paper that he handed him. So he's like, "What'd you find?"
Well, nothing good or nice. This was a terrible place. I think even the devil would feel shame for being here.
Hmm.
And I will just hold up a binder towards you, the same one that I flipped through.
He puts the paper he was reading down. Takes it.
They were experimenting on a young girl that they call the Reliquary.
DM, can I try to attune with this journal to see if I can
Sure.
get more emotion off of what was written into it?
Sure. You can roll me a sense for that.
Alright.
It's not going to be high stakes.
Okay. Ugh. A 2 and a 1.
Luckily for you, there is no emotion in that binder.
Gotcha.
That binder is purely scientific research and the facts as they happened.
This individual was a bit cold of a person. Putting it down.
I will, if you put it down, I'll take it and just tuck it into the lining of my jacket and hold on to it.
What was that audio we heard?
Well, I'm going to fill you in on finding the cassettes and the journals and playing the cassette about the reliquary escaping and having to be subdued, or somehow trapped in like the floor.
Okay.
So I don't know. It seems like it's been a while. I don't know if anything's gonna be alive down here. I don't know what we're gonna find. But again, let's not take any chances. Let's just watch our step when we get down there.
More questions and still few answers.
And Maylene, I'll look at you and I'll say, yeah, and I hope that we don't have to deal with anything we don't want to see or know.
Agreed. And here's hoping any reserves of nerve gas are long dispelled.
Yeah, I'll give you a nod at that. You know what? Does it look like there are any kind of safety equipment in anywhere in this lab level?
This level seems to be offices for the most
Okay.
part. And the biggest office was Dr. Kowalska's, head scientist.
If it weren't for the location, it'd probably be a corner office with a view.
Right, absolutely. She would have had
Where
that
to
top
next?
floor.
I'm gonna just like wordlessly point to that level 2 door.
If I haven't
So
already opened it, here we go.
you have learned that the reliquary is on the 7th floor. You do also know that there are only 7 floors to this building. The next floor you will be going to as you go down the steps is a living quarters for the staff that lived here.
Do we
Okay.
want to go straight to the bottom if we can, or
I don't know. I think
investigate further on the way down?
it might be worth poking around, seeing if we can find some more answers. Maybe just a quick glance at what these living quarters are supposed to, what these living quarters look like.
Is his
Yeah, if there's like,
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
no, go ahead.
No, by all means, finish what you're doing. Then I can do my.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, from the landing to this second level, is it like corridors with doors to the living quarters, or is it some other? Is it like a common space? What exactly do we walk down into?
There is a small common space that has a full kitchen, and it has like 2 separate dining room tables that hold 8 people at each. And then there are couches and what you assume would have been shelves with books and reading material. And then there are hallways to different rooms.
Mm-hmm.
But the floor itself, it looks clean.
Mm.
Love that.
Yeah, above the table. Do we want to? Do we want to continue down? Like, personally, Emil would want to, inspect the rooms, make sure we're not missing anything, or like somebody hasn't somehow survived here who needs like rescuing or getting extracted.
I believe Aileen would be in the same boat as Emil in that. The question being offered was just as a, is this something the group would want to do?
Mm.
What were you going to do, Baron?
there's another door that I can open, I'd open it.
Of course. There are other doors to bedrooms, and personal spaces.
It's whatever.
I'll follow closely, like wherever you go.
Like literally whatever they're doing, if they're doing something, and there's a door within my reach, I will crack it, look, close, crack it, look, close. Like I'm not shy about any of this trash, but at the same time, I'm not making it super known that I'm doing stuff. Like I'm very carefully looking at things and trying to see, just get an idea of what all of this is, if there's anything out of place, if there's whatever. But also, at any point, if I come across that orange stuff again, and I can get close enough to it, I want to see if I can burn it.
Oh yeah, I'll pass you that torch if you want to hold on to it while you're peeking your head through things.
I definitely don't want to hold anything that's bright.
Oh, okay, all right.
If I can blend into the darkness, that's my jam. But I do have a lighter.
Okay.
And I also have my little makeshift.
All right.
I also have my little makeshift torch thing that I made. But I want to see if I can just take small Bic size lighter and just see if I can burn, if it burns instead of going away from it. But that's only if I get close. That's only if I'm looking at something and I get close enough to this trash.
The only thing is that on this floor everything looks clean. It looks like people were here yesterday.
Right, and that's why I said if I had gotten close enough to it, but you had said that, so I didn't think there was any of the orange stuff around. That's why I was like, it doesn't really matter, because that's the main thing I was doing.
And as you open the doors, despite you just meaning to peek in, a motion sensor light kicks on the room's light. And there is
nice
full power on this floor, whereas one floor up, there was no power. But the third door you open, a light doesn't kick on. The motion sensor ticks, but the light doesn't turn on.
Close the door.
And you hear it because it seems to come through the speaker system. And it's like a whisper, a very quiet singing of a child's voice. And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Oh.
Okay.
Cool.